So this is the Reversion radio kit that's supposed to be plug and play into the Impala SS. I didn't want to cut up my I didn't want to cut up my dash to install a double din, so I saw this product online, so I'm going to try it out. So this is everything in the kit. The reverse camera, the bezel, and I guess this is the radio. So I haven't really done any stereo installs before, so I don't know exactly where these go just yet, but once I go through the instructions and install it, I'll keep you posted. So I got the lower dash out. It's just a bunch of 7mm screws that go under the dash, and then there will be 4 right here where the ashtray goes. So you open the ashtray, take those 4 out, and then there is one all the way at the side of at the other end of the dash where the fuse box cover is. You take that off, and then there's one that goes up here, I think. And before you take the dash off, you gotta drop the glove box so it doesn't hold it in. Once that's out, then it's just I think 2 more screws to pull the stock radio out. So I got the stock radio out, and I got the new doubled in new radio here, and this is the main wiring harnesses. It comes with a bunch of other harnesses, but I think these are the only 2 needed for now. So this harness will plug into this connector right there, and all I have to do is connect all these ones into that, and then I can plug it right into the radio right here. And then for this one right here, I don't know exactly where it goes yet, but this one is the one for the reverse camera. I don't know what other ones are there, but I think this does the Bluetooth and whatnot also. So yeah, you can see that right there. Bluetooth antenna. Yeah, that should be it, and hopefully I can just plug it in and then we can see it working. So I got the harness for the head unit wired into the harness that plugs into the stock radio harness. The 3 that are unconnected right now are the backup camera, and then I'm assuming these 2 are for the steering wheel, which I'll do later, but I need to get the SIR module for that. So I'm just gonna electric tape this, and then we should be able to plug in the radio and see what happens. So this is how the bezel goes on. You just slide it over here, and then this little circle at the bottom will mount right there on those 2 ends, and then you can screw it from the top. I just need to see if this cable plugs into the back of this guy somewhere here, or if I have to use this adapter. So here's kind of the end product, where this is the wiring harness that plugs to the stock radio harness, and then this is a part that connects to the radio. And then all you have to do is just pretty much match it color to color. There's 3 wires I didn't end up using. Key 1 and key 2, those are for steering wheel control, and then the backup camera, which I'm going to do later. So those are the only 3 that aren't used, and then the rest you just kind of crimp them together and then connect them. And then this is the other harness you just plug in for the Bluetooth and whatnot. There's nothing you do here except when you're ready to install the reverse camera, then you plug in that yellow part. And then finally, this is the antenna adapter. So you'll see it's somewhere over here. You'll see that this thing right here, that will plug into the antenna adapter on this side, and that will allow you to use a radio. The only issue is when you turn on the car, the antenna goes up because this blue antenna wire always gets power to it. So I need to figure out a way to, put it on a toggle so I don't have the antenna always turning on. So that'll be something I have to figure out later. But for now, I'm just gonna now install it into the car and then see how it looks. Okay, so this is the Reversion Raceworks single DIN, well, 1.5 DIN kit installed fully now. It's pretty good, it connects straight to your phone and Google Maps. You got Android Auto and Google CarPlay. I just have half the dash apart right now because I'm going to install the reverse camera either tomorrow. But definitely worth it in terms of convenience. There's no issues that I've ran into so far. I guess the only annoying thing is, the antenna always comes up, so you either have to run a switch to that blue wire, I think it was, so you can manually turn off the antenna. For now, I just have it turning on all the time, but I will eventually swap that out. Outside of that, the Google Maps thing is probably the most helpful, because usually I just had my phone kind of sitting in the center console, and I would have to glance down to look at it anytime I was looking at directions. But with this one, I can just glance down and it's here. And on top of that, you can play right off Spotify, so it makes it pretty convenient. I will say that the old one had better radio controls, because this one has like a little tiny dial here, and while the other one, the stock one didn't. It had like that big. I think it had 2 dials, so it was really easy to kind of scroll through radio stations. But outside of that, this is definitely superior. So currently what I have to do is I have to run the wire, this one, through this grommet. And I can't really do that without cutting the wire and then passing it through, because the end is too bulky to fit through. So I have to cut it at the halfway point, pass it through here, and then that should be good. But in the meantime, the rest of the wire I have to run through the back of the car. So the first thing I have to do is take out the back seat. So I already got the bottom half off. All you have to do is just push it in and lift up, and then just pass the seat belts buckles through. And now for this part, I just need to take out the, I think it's T50 bolts. Can't remember if I had to take this off. I would assume so. So once I do that, then I should be able to remove this, and then I think I should be able to see the wiring. If not, I have to remove more stuff. And what I would like to do is just pass it through the carpet the same way the stock harness goes through. I might have to remove the front seat, but I already have most of the interior part anyways. So I got the back seat out. It's just those 2 Torx bit bolts on either side, and then the back seat hooks into this thing, so you just kind of have to lift it up and pull it out. I just pulled probably the plastic part out too. I don't know if it's needed or not, but I just did that. So now I think I just have to take off this panel pretty much here. Might have to take out the front seat so I can just completely pull the carpet out. Okay, so I pretty much had to take out half the interior for this to do it this way. So you can see that's where the stock wiring harness comes from, the trunk. So I'm routing my little wire guide through there, and then there's these little clips that you can pass it through. And then once you get over here, there's like this little panel thing you can actually open up and pass it through, and then it runs all the way to it runs all the way under the carpet. You just pry the carpet there, and it runs all the way out there. And then what I'm gonna do is route it through the back up there somewhere, and then behind the radio, and that will be my radio wire. And then for the power wire, I have a bundle of wires going to the transmission for the reverse light. So I'm gonna tap off that for that convenience wire. You can see the red wire right there. and then that will, you know, power up the radio and tell it to go into reverse every time I go into reverse with the shifter. So based on this is the radio pulled out right now, so that is the wire that I'm running through the length of the car, and it connects it into this cable that comes off the radio. And then I have this red convenience wire here. So based on what I've read in the instructions, I'm supposed to tie in that red wire into I think it was the pink wire right here. I'm not sure if that's completely correct though, but I'll give it a try because it's supposed to power on. The pink is supposed to power on when you go into reverse, so I don't know how this red is getting power unless it's getting it from the back, but I guess that's what I'm going to try out right now. So the way this is going to work is I have the video cable wire with the convenience wire there. So that red wire on the other side is connected to the pink wire at the head unit level, and then the yellow one obviously plugs in, and that's all you have to do up there. And then that yellow wire is going to connect to this yellow plug here on the actual camera itself. And then you have this red power wire right here, and that's where this guy comes into play. So this is where you're going to need to ground the black wire, and then the red wire you need to get power off. So you're going to plug this in here, and then the red wire, you're going to have to get it off this reverse lamp. So I believe it should be the most outside one right here. So you cut that, tap this in, and then technically when I put it into reverse, it should power up this video cable here, and then also it should run all the way to the front and activate the head unit too. The challenging part is when I tap this in here, I need to find a place to ground it, and then also I would need to, I would need to drop the wire through here so I can actually reach this cable. The same thing with that one, like I would have to run that yellow cable all the way through the back, through the grommet right here, and then down there so I can connect to this license plate camera. So being a bit dumb, but this is the cable wire. I had to cut it because it's not long enough to go through here and underneath the car, so I'm extending it. So I bought another one and I just cut it so I can splice it in. So what I did was I passed it through the grommet right here, and then that's the other end. But now I gotta pass it through here and then connect it to the harness on the actual camera. And once I do that, then I have to run the red cable back up to here and connect up to this green wire, and then also wire in the ground and power for the camera cable. Okay, so all the wiring is done. So to explain, you have the RCA cable that runs through the whole car, that plugs into the head unit down there with the convenience cable as shown earlier. And then what I did here was I had to cut the RCA cable because the one that came with the kit wasn't long enough, and then also to pass the head through, can't really do it through the grommet. So what I did was I had another RCA cable, I cut that, I passed it through the grommet, and then I spliced it, both RCA cables together, RCA ends together. So now this one, it runs through the grommet, it runs underneath the car, and then not sure if you can see it. So you can see right over there, it connects to the license plate camera where the yellow cable is. So for the red one, that one connects to the power and ground cable for the... So the red one, the red connector connects to the power and ground. So you can see I have this ground cable that comes from there, and then the power also runs down to that connector. But I have both RCA cable and that power and ground cable all connect to this wire right here. So that green wire, the closest one to the end, I cut that because that's the one you're getting power from. So I cut that, spliced in the power wires, so that powers up the video camera, and then you have the ground there. So now when I put it into reverse, the camera turns on. So I'm going to put everything back together. We'll tape everything up nicely, put everything back together. So here's everything back installed. I ended up running the ground for the power cable back through the grommet, and then all the way through the side, and then to this trunk mount ground right here, because there wasn't any space to ground it behind the headlight, my tail light. So now, if you look at it, I got a full reverse camera.